Hey guys, what's up again? I'm Calm now, and welcome to another review of movies that are long and very long month. And this is a real doozy from the '80s. This is the only one in the franchise that, other than the remake, that's 2 hours long. It's 127 minutes, so it counts. Just this one, and that is the original 1984 classic, The Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid from 1984. Man, I love this movie as a kid, and it still holds up as an adult. It's still a really fun 80s movie from, my childhood. Now, you basically guys have never seen The Karate Kid, you know the plot. A kid named Daniel LaRusso, played by Ralph Macchio, is a kid. He grows up, he moves to a new town in California in the beach area and with his mom, and then he gets attacked by a bunch of bullies from the Cobra Kai, and because he doesn't know how to fight, and then basically a old man, an old Asian man, his handyman, what you call it, Mr. Miyagi, helps him and teaches him to defend himself in the ways of martial arts, which is kung fu, karate, not kung fu like in the remake. Which screw that remake. I hate how boring that movie was. Now, this movie, how iconic is the first Karate Kid? Like, you got Pat Morita playing Mr. Miyagi. He, I think, got an Oscar nomination for this, so he is really good in the film. There's memorable dialogue like "wax on, wax off." In the remake, is "jacket on, jacket off." It was not the same. I'm sorry. It felt half-assed. Ralph Macchio is very likable as Daniel LaRusso in this one and in the second one, which I can't review yet, but I will review eventually some other time. And the film looks great. It has a great soundtrack. You're the best around. I could hear that on my iPod, on my phone, and run down the street and know that. Yeah, nothing's ever gonna keep you down. You're the best around. It's just a fantastic soundtrack. I mean, the '80s, real '80s nostalgia is real '80s movies with a great, kick-ass soundtrack. And it has a great villain in Martin Cove, who plays Sensei John Kreese, one of the best villains in any, '80s movie. He's like mercy is for the weak. The enemy deserves no mercy. You see, he's intimidating, and he always gets in Miyagi's face. He's like, "Oh, you're a stubborn little bastard, ain't you?" But I like that. Yeah, Cove just chews up scenery, but he's fantastic. His boy that fights for him in the tournament, I forgot his name. Um, but he's in the movie as well. The blonde kid that fights Daniel at the end of the tournament. And also Elizabeth Shue is there as the love interest, only in the first one. She's not in any of the sequels. She was good. It was nice to see her. This is before Back to the Future 2. Yeah, the year before. Well, no, not a year before, a couple years before, because Back to the Future 2 was 1989, this is 84. But yeah, it is a long movie, but it's like Rocky, but with a karate theme. The tournament, the fight scenes are very well done. You can see it as PG, so they don't show a lot of blood. But you remember the crane kick where Daniel like psychs out his opponent, he put his leg up, and then he kicks him with the other foot. Of course, that would be unrealistic. No one's gonna just stand there and take a kick to the face. But it's well done, and the movie is very well directed. It's directed by the same guy that did Rocky, the original, which is another movie I could review for movies that are long, because it's John G. Avildsen who did the first Rocky and Rocky Five, which I think is underrated. But yeah, this is a really good movie. Like, if you have not seen The Karate Kid, I know you've heard of it. It's a classic from the '80s, just like Ghostbusters, the original that is, and Back to the Future, and the Star Wars sequels, the true Star Wars. The '80s had great movies every single weekend. In the '80s, summers did not have as many bombs as we have now, because back then they had low budgets and they had good actors and they had no CGI. Yeah, you stupid movies like Valerian, thinking, "Oh, we want to see. I want. You know how we're going to entertain our audience? We're going to just throw Avatar CGI in your face and have two piss poor acting leads that can't act together." And yeah, that doesn't work. In this movie, it works wonders. This was a huge hit at the box office. It was Ralph Macchio's pretty much his breakout role, and Pat Morita got great notices for this. Of course, he played pretty much either himself or Mr. Miyagi, but without an accent in other movies. But he's a great actor. Like, I miss him. Rest in peace, Pat Morita. I miss you. Jackie Chan is great on his own, but he's not Mr. Miyagi. Like, he was Mr. Han or whatever. But I just he was the only good thing in the remake. I hated Jaden Smith. He is not Ralph Macchio. He doesn't have his acting chops. And that movie looked great, but it's way too long and it was boring. This movie is not boring. This one is part three, but this one isn't, and this one isn't. The second one, which I'm going to review some other time, maybe in November, because I'm going to do movies with that start with a consonant in the front. That would be interesting. But anyway, The Karate Kid, well done. If I had a problem with it, I don't remember Daniel's mother too much in the film. I remember some of the scenes that she's in, but I don't remember the actress who played her. It's still, but it still holds up. Like the movie's over 30 years old, and it's still very entertaining. It's a well done, fast paced movie. Even though it's 2 hours and the tournament is like the last 20 or 30 minutes of the movie, it's well worth the trip. Seeing Daniel train from this boy that got his ass kicked to a karate master in a way, and his transition worked well. I didn't buy that in the remake. Jaden Smith is like 12. He's real super thin, and he's doing these flips like he's in the Matrix. That didn't work. There's no flips. There's no Matrix crap in this movie. It's held up. It's a very fun movie. It's PG, so it's not too violent for kids. And they do curse in it because in the 80s, PG, they would curse a lot, but not as much now. And it's a really good movie. Like it's a hero story, a zero to hero story, just like Rocky and a bunch of other movies. Where they go from zero to hero and in a matter of moments. And yeah, 80s montages, great soundtrack, a great cast, really fun movie. It's long, but it works. The running time from back then worked. Now, the movies just feel long, and back then they knew how to do it really well. And I really glad I own this movie. I have two copies of it. Um, but if you want to see the franchise, stick with the original and see the sequel, Karate Kid 2. It's a really fun sequel, which I'm going to get to next time eventually. Avoid 3. Avoid the next Karate Kid, which is a shitty movie with a girl that doesn't work because Hilary Swank is a better actress in other stuff. In dramas, she's awesome. As a fighter, I don't buy her for one bit. And avoid the remake. I hated the remake. It missed the point of why this movie worked. It worked because it was well done and it was 80s nostalgia the right way. And the remake, they didn't even have a good soundtrack. What do you have? The only good song is that Justin Bieber song. I will never say never. But that's it. It's not you're the best around. This says you're the best, not you're half-assed. You're the best. And I believe it. And the movie is, yeah, it's predictable. Daniel's going to win at the end against the Cobra Kai. Of course, in the sequel, you see more characters and they go deep into Mr. Miyagi's story. And Mr. Miyagi's a likable character. And that's what works. These two work. And I'm actually interested in that TV series of the Karate Kid, returning. Ralph Macchio is going to do it with the guy that played um, the kid that fought him at the end of the first movie. I want to actually see that. I'm interested in that more than a sequel to the remake. I don't want to see any more Jaden Smith. He's not his father, Will. I'm sorry. He's just not. He's not strong enough to carry a film. After Earth, yeah, After Birth, if you ask me. But Karate Kid is a amazing martial arts film from the early 80s. And while it's not as great as like Bloodsport or what you call it, Kickboxer, or the original Kickboxer, or any of these martial arts like Enter the Dragon or the Raid Redemption, it's still well done. It's more of a kind of like an action drama, like Rocky was than a martial arts film, but it works, and it doesn't have shaky cam or bad cuts or editing that's all over the place, and it doesn't have anime fights like in King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. God, that movie was painful. But this movie works, and there's a reason it's got a high regard and it's got a high rating on IMDb, great critical reception, and it's a movie. It's a classic from the '80s, and I'm glad that I saw this as a kid because it works now, and I want to see it again. It's been way too long since I've seen the original Karate Kid or its awesome sequel, Karate Kid 2. But that's Karate Kid, the original, the superior version, because the remake, I just could not stand it. It was so boring. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching my rant on Pirates 3. I had to let that out. Thanks for watching my videos throughout the summer. It's been a really good summer. I had a lot of fun going to the baseball games and to the movie theater. Some good movies this summer. Granted, the box office is tanking now because there's nothing good out. That is until Lego Ninjago. And then we got Blade Runner 2049. Hopefully that's good. I'm really hoping against hope that that's not a disappointment. We got Thor, Macho freaking Thor Ragnarok, and we have Justice League. And that's it for me. After that, don't care about episode 8 because I said it here. There's nothing in that movie can do to win me over. A cute little creature called a Porg and a BB-9E. Okay, they're cute, but it's going to take more than cuteness to bring me back to the theater. Sorry, Disney Wars, you're not going to get me again. And The Greatest Showman, I'm interested because of the cast, but that's about it for 2017 movies in the theater. But anyway, guys, I'm rambling. Sorry. See you guys in the next review.